All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Badass Clinician. Again, I'm your host, Natty and Chestin. So, again, we alluded last week that we're going to talk more about AI stuff and how that's going to help, our lives a lot easier. Which, again, I use AI almost every single day. Using ChatGPT and all these other things. But I think Chestin is more at the forefront of this than I am. So, I'm just excited for this podcast, just as you guys, because I get to learn some cool stuff. What's he been working behind the scenes? So, hey, dude, what's going on?
Not much, man. So it's always good to connect and talk about business and growth and technology. And it's we definitely live in an exciting time when things like AI are becoming more and more prevalent. Easier to, I think the key thing too is they're becoming easier to use for people like you that don't necessarily have the technical background. Be your business owner, business leader, and you're always trying to create that leverage.
Yeah.
Um, and we've talked before about the four types of leverage. And I'm not sure if this originated with Dan Martell, but that's where I heard of it. The four types of
Mhm.
leverage. The four C's. Basically, you've got capital, you've got code, you've got content, and then you've got connections. Um, this is definitely one of those where code and content come into play because you have to train your AI to
Mhm.
be able to speak like you, think like you, have the information it needs. And then once you have that, then you have the code that makes it super easy to plug into different aspects of your business to create that leverage that you want, so you can make sure that things are happening how they need to happen, when they need to happen, and the way that they need to happen. So we'll kind of showcase a couple of different features of ways that you can use AI to help your clinic, and give you as a business owner more time to do the things that you really need to be doing, but also know that things are happening behind the scenes and in the processes the way they need to happen, and how they need to happen.
Yeah, dude. So let's dive right in. Let's see what we got. Let's talk about code and AI.
Okay. So what we have here is basically any page on your website. In this case,
Mhm.
this just happens to be, a landing page. You guys are running ads to sending traffic here as well. And so, but this could be any page on your website, your home page, your book a call page, your free resource page, and each one can be different. So you can have
Mhm.
different bots on different pages, each with different objectives, different knowledge. And I'll show you in a minute how we actually train the bot. But basically, the way it works is someone comes here, they enter a question. All right, so let's see if it's going to respond for us.
And you say you can set the response time too, right?
Correct. And I've really dropped it down. There we go. So it replied.
So what
Um,
what do you write in so people can
so
see?
basically, whatever the question is, whatever the conversation is, AI is intelligent enough that it can basically have an intelligent conversation.
Mhm.
Not to be redundant, but you can see right here, I just typed in, I'm interested in acupuncture, but don't know much about it. So then it
Mhm.
replies, acupuncture is an ancient Chinese medicine technique involving the insertion of thin needles, blah, 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 blah. Are you currently dealing with any pain or specific issues you want to address? So I'm just going to reply, yes, I have some lower back pain. And keep in
Mhm.
mind also, we've trained this bot to always follow up with a question to keep that
Mhm.
conversation going. The ultimate objective is to try to get them to book a discovery call. So you can see here it came back, and this isn't me telling it what to say. This is AI based on the information that we've given it about you, about your clinic, about the services you provide. This is it coming up with an intelligent response and then leading that conversation where we want it to go. So you can see here, got it. Lower back pain can be difficult, can definitely be helped with acupuncture. How long you've been dealing with pain, and have you tried any treatment so far?
Wow, that's pretty neat, dude.
So haven't tried any treatments yet, just doing a lot of stretching. So it's, again, in the background, taking this
Yeah.
information, formulating a response. There we go. Stretching is a good start. Acupuncture can be effective can be an effective treatment for lower back pain. Would you like to schedule a discovery call to discuss this further with one of our experts? So again, its objective is to book a discovery call. So
Mhm.
here it's had that conversation. We've trained it to ask a couple of questions, I think 2 to 3 questions at least before proposing a discovery call, which it's
Mhm.
done. Um,
What if you say yes, but then put like an objection, like yes, but I'm concerned about how much the pricing going to be? How would it handle those objection?
yes, but I'm concerned about the cost.
Hmm.
So let's see. And again, this would all be part of the training. So
Yeah.
as you go through this, there we go. I understand. While we don't directly accept insurance, we can help with verifying coverage and submitting for reimbursement. We can discuss these details during the discovery call.
Okay.
So again, you guys are cash pay. You don't directly accept insurance, but I know that you do help verify
Hmm.
coverage and submit, reimbursement claims. And again, the goal is not to answer necessarily all of their questions, but to answer
Hmm.
enough of those questions that they want to book that discovery call. So I'll say yes, please. So now what it's doing is it's actually going to your calendar
Hmm.
and it's seeing what's available based on the schedule you've set. So again, this is AI just
Hmm.
basically just having this free flowing conversation. You can see right here, it looks very natural. It looks like, they can't necessarily tell that they're chatting with an AI bot.
Hmm.
But then here it's looked at the calendar. It says, okay, Monday the 5th, we have, I can't do Monday.
Okay. So this is a great leverage, especially if you have, multiple PTs, perhaps one front desk, and then no one to help follow up with leads, right? Because when the whole
Absolutely.
point is that when someone's coming into your website, you need speed to take the lead through. So to have
Yeah.
something like that is going to be very beneficial.
Yeah. I mean, look, you've engaged someone in a conversation. You want to get them to take that next step right now if you can.
Hmm.
Like if they're ready to take that next step. In this case, I mean, it's a simple discovery call.
Yeah.
They're not coming in, so you don't have to worry about juggling your schedule. I mean, you could if you wanted to actually schedule them for a discovery visit, you could do that. But in this case, your process is, hey, let's get on the phone first. Let's talk about your situation. Let's understand who you are. We want you to understand who we are, how our processes work. And so, it's going through that process of getting them to that next step in the process, which is with your marketing, with your sales. That's the objective. We want to get them to that next step in that process, whatever that might be. So let me go ahead and say, let's do 4 p.m.
And what's cool about this is it's going to save a lot of money up front, especially hiring like an entire staff. Even
Oh,
if you end up hiring, let's say a virtual assistant to do this, it still costs up front, right? This one,
absolutely.
you're setting it, and I think the great thing is going to be um, is less investment in staff, but also it's also going to give you leverage where you're kind of treating you're overseeing the operation, and then next thing you know, you just see a call schedule coming in, and now all you have to do is just tell your front staff just to follow up and get all the intake and benefits and all of that stuff, just to start building trust immediately. And I know people watching this can be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna try to set this up myself, which is great. You can definitely do that, but again, you're gonna just like you see how like what happened with McDonald's over in California because they raised the minimum wage. They immediately let go of so many people, and they
Yep.
just put AI in there. But then it got trends because the AI itself was not able to do the job because they didn't have people overseeing it, right? So
Yes.
if you set this up yourself, you're going to need someone to oversee this whole thing.
Yeah.
What's cool about the system that we have is we have Chestin who overseeing all this stuff and then can go in and tweak it almost immediately.
So it looks like in the time that I tried to schedule, the 4
Mhm.
p.m. slot got booked. So let's do
Okay.
4:30. But again, it's intelligent enough that it's looking at that calendar and it's recognizing, oh, something was booked at this point.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and move it to another time.
Yeah.
Um, and so again, it's like you say, you're trying to create leverage as a business owner. And
Hmm.
so this is a tool that can allow you to once it's set up, once it's configured, go off and do the things that you need to do as a business owner. If you're, doesn't matter if you have a team like what you have, or if you're a small clinic and maybe it's you and a PT, but you don't have a front desk person yet.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that you can set up that replaces that. I don't want to say replaces completely, but does a lot of the heavy lifting that a front desk person would do, so that you can have booked appointments on your calendar without having to invest and pay someone to sit there and have these conversations for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't replace that front desk person, that receptionist, that admin,
Yep.
the salesperson that's responsible for this. But you can see right here, like it went through this entire conversation. And again, it asked for my name, it asked for my email, it asked for my phone number so it could send me all the confirmations. Yeah. So again, just a very powerful tool to create leverage for yourself and your clinic so that you can focus on doing those things that you need to be doing so that you can grow, how you need to grow into the ways that you need to grow.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Dude, I think it's great, but let's talk about some downsides. What are some downsides that you see that, because most people are gonna watch this and be like, oh yeah, all right, I'm gonna set it and then I'm just gonna go. Like, what are some, if we have to bring people back to the real world, what are some downsides, some risks that involve with setting this up, and how do you manage this where it's gonna do its job, but you also have some involvement and some say, but less involvement than you would normally doing the work yourself.
Yeah, so I think the biggest risk is not so much a risk, just an understanding and awareness of the fact that you have to train this over time. Like you can't immediately deploy this on day one and it's going to be perfect. Like there's going to be hiccups throughout the process. So you just have to be prepared when those hiccups happen so you can address those appropriately. And what are the hiccups? It gives the wrong answer. Maybe it doesn't reply exactly how you want it to. Maybe it sends incorrect information. Like those are all things that we try to mitigate up front when we set these up, for the clinics that we work with. Like we have, all of the training pre-canned and ready to go so that when it's deployed, it's probably 90-95% accurate and it's going to do a good job for you. But that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be issues that are going to come up. And so part of our process is, when we first start working with a clinic, is we go in and we understand very thoroughly who you are as a clinic, what's your brand, what's your messaging, what are the services you provide, what are your processes, so we can then train your bots to be able to respond appropriately. But it's not truly set it and forget it yet. Like you have to oversee it, or you have to have someone that's kind of keeping an eye on these things so that you can train it to respond appropriately. And so I would say that's probably one of the biggest hurdles, is just understanding that it still takes some oversight. It still takes some hand holding initially to be able to get this thing to do exactly what you want it to do.
Yeah.
But that decreases over time. Just like with anything, as you go through that learning curve, you become more familiar with something, you get more comfortable with it, you do a better job at it. This is the same way. It's just, think of it like a new staff member that's learning how to do their job. They're going to make mistakes initially. They're going to do things incorrectly or say the wrong things, but that's okay. It's just part of the process of getting to that point to where they are proficient at doing their job and doing it really, really well.
Yeah. And you mentioned to me that you can always go in the back end updating the script, right? And you say it's always self-learning, which is sick.
Yeah. Let me actually show you how to train the bot.
Oh, let's go. I need to see this.
Yeah. Yeah. So all right. So let's go here. All right. So this is the back end of our CRM system for CRM, and in here, you can set up a number of different bots that you want to set up. You can set up, the wait time before responding. I dialed this down. I would probably bump it up just a little bit, maybe 10 to 15 seconds to make it sound more natural. You can limit the number of messages, and then you can tell it, hey, after so long, just go to sleep, and then it will, someone on your team will actually take over. You can also do this with, SMS, with live chat, that we showed on the website, Instagram, Facebook, all those things. So the first thing that we need to do is we actually need to train the bot.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've done is we've given it your website. So it has actually crawled your website, and all the information you have available on your website, it has that information stored and ready to go. So when someone asks a
Mm-hmm.
question, if it's on your website, it has those answered. We've
Yeah.
also created a knowledge base, so to speak, that is a little bit more in depth, a little bit more detailed about your clinic. So you, for example, what's your training? What's your education? What's your experience? What are the things you've done? Same thing with all of the PTs on staff. What are all the things they've done? How does your billing work? What is your process? So all those things that maybe not on the website, we've included those. One thing we need to add here for you is your ACL book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if someone has a question about the ACL book that you've written, like it will have that information available and ready to provide that information to the prospect, about your book. And it'll
Mm-hmm.
be detailed and informative, the same way that your book is. So basically we go in here, and then so you can come in here and seed questions. So, specific questions that people ask, frequently asked questions, should ask questions, and you can give it the response that you want to give it to. So this is part of training that bot. All
Yeah.
those questions that I asked before about acupuncture, it now has those questions and those answers stored. So going forward, if I don't like a particular question, I can come in here and change the response, so that in the future, the next time someone asks that question, it's going to respond appropriately. And then also coming in here, this is where we kind of provide the knowledge for the bot.
Mm.
Who's it for? What's the goal? And then just anything else that it needs to know. And then also this is where we can actually drop in, some of the values that we want it to get, that we can then add to that contact record, so we can make sure that we're sending out the appropriate information. In this case, the appointment, confirmations, the text, the emails, all those things. And then also initiate those follow-up workflows that are going to nurture those leads. So let's say I didn't book an appointment,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. You still want to maintain contact. You want to nurture that prospect and hopefully get them to book an appointment at some point. And so this is where we can actually train that bot to then drop it into what we call a workflow that's
Mm-hmm.
going to send out that sequence of messages, in this case related to acupuncture, to help educate them further, to position yourself as the authority, to talk about the benefits that they're going to get, and ultimately, hopefully schedule, an appointment for them. And then also we have in here, you have the ability to come in and basically, this is where you can go through, you and your team can go through and just have a conversation to see what it's going to look like on the back end before actually deploying it on the
Mm.
front end. So let me just go through. Give me another service. What's another?
Yeah, I mean, just you can go
Let's do Shockwave.
PT. Yeah, shockwave, PT. What's shockwave? How does it work? We always get that. How does shockwave work? Is it gonna hurt? What's the expected outcome? How can I be prepared for it?
So here we go. So now it's kind of diagnosing a little bit, getting a little bit more information.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks. I haven't.
So for the people who are listening, Chestin, what exactly are you typing?
Yeah. So basically, I'm just going through as if I'm a prospect,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm inquiring about Shockwave. So,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, I said, hey, I'm interested in Shockwave therapy. Replied, great, Shockwave therapy can be really effective for various conditions. Are you looking for treatment for a specific issue or more general info?
Mm-hmm.
So then I replied, I'm having some knee pain, but don't really know anything about Shockwave therapy. I just had a friend mention it. So then it
Mm.
replied, got it. Shockwave therapy is often used to treat knee pain and can promote healing by increasing blood flow and stimulating repair. How
Mm.
long have you been experiencing knee pain? And I replied, a couple of weeks. It then responded, understood. Knee pain for a few weeks can be troubling. Have you tried any treatments or remedies so far? So
Mm.
I replied, I haven't tried any treatments yet. So then it replied, all right, we're here to help. Shockwave therapy could be a good option to consider. Would you be interested in scheduling a discovery call with one
Mm.
of our experts to discuss your knee pain and potential treatments? I'm going to say possibly. Could you tell me how shockwave therapy works?
Mm.
So I'm trying to get some more information about what it is before I actually do that. So
Yeah.
then it replies, sure, shockwave therapy uses high energy sound waves to stimulate healing in the affected area. It increases blood flow, reduces pain, and promotes tissue repair. It's non-invasive and typically involves a few sessions. Anything
Mm.
specific you'd like to know more about? Um, is there? What do you think? What should I ask?
I say, what does it feel like? I think that would
Yeah.
be good. Yeah. What does it feel like?
So what does it feel like?
Yep.
During shockwave therapy, you might feel some discomfort or a slight tingling sensation, but it's usually well tolerated. Some describe it similar to light tapping on the skin. How does that sound to you?
Actually, that's exactly what I would say.
Honestly, you know why I said that?
Yeah.
Probably because we've got information that you've created
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
describes what it feels like. So that's where it's getting that information.
Oh, dude. And then I would ask, like, how many treatment session can I expect to get before I get the result?
How many treatment? So I'm replying, how many treatment sessions should I expect before I get results?
Mm-hmm.
So typically patients notice improvement after 3 to 5 sessions, though it can vary based on the individual and the condition. Want to set up a discovery call to tailor a plan for you?
Dude, that's spot on. That's literally
Say,
what
sure,
I would
sounds
say.
good. So then now it's going to go through, and again,
Mm-hmm.
awesome. When would you like to book your discovery call? We have availability today and the coming days. Feel free to suggest a time that works best for you. So then I would go through and just again, I would say, let me do this. I'm going to say, what do you have tomorrow? So then it's now looking at the calendar to see what's available. We have the following time slots available for tomorrow, August 2nd, 10:30 a.m., 11 a.m., 11. So it's listing a bunch of times. So, what time works best for you? And then it would go through, I would suggest a time, and then it would go through and, okay, what's your name? What's your email? What's your phone number? So we can send, confirmations. It's also asking, is it okay if we send you a text message so we can get that SMS consent, which is, now required.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going through all those steps to gather that information and then book that appointment on your calendar, that discovery call, in this case on Julie's calendar on your team, so that she can get on the phone and talk with me or this prospect about Shockwave. And then hopefully, sell them a package or, have them come in for that visit, whatever the next step in that process is.
Dude, that's awesome. That's going to give us so much time freedom. I mean, the
Oh,
leverage itself is great because it's and the best thing about it is stuck to the script.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Stuck to the
And
script.
again,
That's
like
that's the
this is,
hardest thing.
yeah, I'm going to be honest. I haven't done Shockwave. I haven't done acupuncture. I've done a
Yeah.
whole bunch of ACLs, just kind of testing it.
Yep.
And so you can see that with the training that we've provided, even you're like, that's exactly what I'd say.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yep.
because we took your information, your knowledge, and we
Yep.
transferred it here and we provided it to the bot so that it basically has your brain as it's responding to these questions.
Yeah.
So just think, as a clinic owner, you're worried about your team. We talk all the time about scripts. Like it's following your script essentially,
Yeah.
because we've
Yeah.
trained it using your information, using your scripts in the way that you want it to communicate, and it's communicating in that way. So in many ways, it's almost better than a person because it's not gonna vary from what we tell it to do. Whereas, someone on your team, someone new you're training that you don't necessarily have that trust in, or
Yeah.
maybe they aren't completely bought in, they're going to tweak and adjust things based on how they feel about what it is you're asking them to do or say. Well, in this case, feelings are completely out of the equation. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's all based on the algorithm, on the information, the training that we've given it. And so it's following the script exactly as you want it to follow,
Mm-hmm.
exactly as you want it to be presented.
Dude,
Which
one last
again,
point what I want to make before we get off is this is going to help decrease burned out with employee as well
yes,
because they don't have to keep doing the mundane tasks and all of that stuff, right? And again, even though we know that it's the boring task that actually gave us the best result, but if you have this, you can leverage that, and then your team can then go do a higher leverage task, right? Because the whole thing is you want to leverage yourself as a business owner, but then your team also need to be leveraged as well.
Yes, yes. So, think about it from Julie's perspective. Julie, in
Mm-hmm.
your case, she's the one that does the initial outreach. She's the one that follows up with leads. She's the one that does the discovery calls. Um, we don't want to bypass those discovery calls because there
No.
absolutely is value in getting on
Mm-hmm.
the phone, having that conversation, hearing their emotion, hearing their story, and then being able to help again present the solutions that you offer. And so
Yeah.
that human element is still absolutely needed, but in this case, we're simply accelerating Julie's process because she now doesn't have to have some of these initial conversations to kind of get them to the point to where they feel comfortable scheduling that discovery call. Like the
Yeah.
bot is doing this for her. So now she can focus all of her time and attention in talking with people that have already expressed an interest, that have already taken action to schedule that call.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's able to better focus her energies on getting them to that next step in the process, whatever that may be,
Mm-hmm.
because steps 1 through 5 of her process are already being taken care of by that bot. So
Yeah.
we're creating leverage for her and helping make her job easier because now she doesn't have to do, a lot of these, I say mundane, but have a lot of these initial mundane conversations because the bot's able to do that and it's doing it in a very effective way, the way that you want it to be done. So
Mm-hmm.
you can get them in front of Julie on the phone with Julie, so she can then take it that next step in that process.
Dude, that's incredible. I'm so excited for this because now like my brain is turning. I can't wait for our we have a marketing meeting in later today. So I'm gonna definitely talk to the team about how we can leverage this and then use this to help better with our lead nurturing process.
Yeah.
So
So can I show you something else?
yeah, yeah.
All right. So I haven't fully. We're still working on getting this fine tuned. But imagine your social media. Like I know a lot of clinics use social media to get the word out.
Mm-hmm.
You have your ACL book. A very popular tactic is, hey, DM me the word ACL, comment
Mm-hmm.
ACL, something like that. And so I know you have someone on your team that goes through all of your DMs and has those conversations, kind of in the DM, so to speak. Well, in this case, we've set one up, and let me
Well,
see.
actually, I'm gonna stop you right there because
Yeah.
I want to go over this next week instead because
Okay.
that's a
All
lot
right.
to uncover. And I want people to come back and listen to this next week. So I'm not going to show all the tricks just
Okay.
yet.
Okay. Because
But
let me just drop some hints. Some
yeah,
hints that
yeah,
we can
there you
talk
go.
about.
There you go.
So there's that tool, that technique of using your social media and automatically engaging leads.
Hmm.
Another one to think about is you guys are running ads right now to
Yep.
a particular offer that you have. We talk about speed to lead all the time.
Hmm.
Imagine having an AI bot that when someone opts into an ad, you're immediately engaging them with a conversation via text or however it is
Hmm.
that asks them why they requested this information or why they took you up on the offer, that
Hmm.
educates them, informs them, starts that trust building process
Hmm.
so that as soon as they opt in, 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever the case may be, they're having a conversation with your team about that particular offer that's
Hmm.
helping solidify their decision to take advantage of that offer, whatever it may have been.
Hmm.
So your speed to lead is almost immediate, and it's not just a reach out like, hey, we saw you opted in, we'll be in touch. No, it's, hey, we saw you opted in, what prompted you? What injury are you dealing
Yeah.
with, or what discomfort, or what is it that motivated you to take us up on this offer? Okay, cool. Well, tell me a little bit more about that. How long have you been dealing with that problem? What are the main challenges that you're dealing with? Okay, cool. Well, this is how we can help. This is how this offer is going to help you solve that particular problem. Like
Hmm.
that conversation is happening immediately. So the prospect on the other end doesn't have to wait. Like they're getting that instant gratification because you're
Yep.
answering their questions, you're educating them, you're building that relationship, you're positioning yourself as the authority. And so the chances of them actually taking you up on that offer go up exponentially.
Yeah.
We talk all the time, we hear all the time about businesses that are running ads. They say, well, the ads suck, or the leads that we're getting are worthless. Well, in some cases, possibly.
Yeah.
But more times than not, what we find is that we've just missed that window of opportunity to solidify that lead because we don't have the proper systems or tools or people or processes in place to immediately kind of tie down that relationship with information, with engagement, with nurturing. And so this allows you to really maximize the value that you're spending on leads, maximize the value of that particular lead that you're getting because of your ability to interact immediately and engage them in your business and the solutions that you can present to them. So that's one thing we can talk about. Another thing we can talk about is, so I talk all the time about Google Business Profiles.
Yeah.
One of the most underutilized assets that most businesses have. One of the ways that you can increase the visibility and improve your rankings so you show up at the top of that 3-pack when someone searches for, let's say acupuncture near me. One of the ways you can do that is by posting updates to your Google Business Profile, just like you post to Instagram or Facebook, just like you post YouTube videos. Posting content on your Google Business Profile is one of the best ways that you can increase your visibility. Well, using AI, we can actually auto post content to your profile that's relevant to your clinic. We can post those reviews, we can post specials or promos using AI. And again, that's another way you can create leverage because we're using code and content to get your message out to help increase the visibility, increase the engagement that you have on your, in this case, your Google Business Profile. So that's another thing that we can showcase next week if we have time as well.
Well, next week, that's what we're going to talk about. Dude, I hate and love to cut this short because one of my pro guys here. Hey, man, thank you so much. And guys, show up next week. Let's see how we can help you, honestly. And then again, if you like this podcast, please subscribe, like, shares, and then book a call so we can hop on a call together. Chestin, I'll see you next week, man. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Have a good week.